Hi everyone. Now, I've already filmed this video, but as I was sort of editing it, I thought of a few more points that really I should make on it. The views and opinions in this video are mine. Now, there'll be many people that will put in the comments how wrong I am and that that's not the way you do it and you do it this way. And that is absolutely fine, because there is not one way to deal with any type of predator. There's many ways, and you need to find what is right for you. There will be people that wonder why I'm bothering with any of this, because the answer to any predator is just to blow its head off. Now, that's fine. You can't argue that that is a very effective way of doing it. A dead fox is not killing any of your chickens. However, that's not the way we do things. We try and do things ethically. We have a no-kill policy on everything, predators included. The only exception being rats, and that is purely down to really a legal thing. You have a legal obligation to deal with rats, and there is just no other way that works, because we have tried, and it's not something we're happy about, but I do cover that in the video anyway. So there's many ways to deal with things, with predators. The thing to remember with any predator is it will find the easiest way to get in. Predators are lazy animals. They conserve energy. They go in high bursts for hunting, and then they lay around a lot. So they will find the easiest and quickest way to get in. So I talk about in the video about checking for like weak spots in fencing and things, because that is what is most important. The fox that comes will find the easiest way to get in. If there's a really complicated, bizarre way they can get in, yeah, they might stumble across it, but they're not going to go out their way to do that. Just because a predator can do something doesn't mean it will. And just because someone has seen a predator do something doesn't mean the next one will. I've seen a badger climb a 7-foot brick wall straight up and get over the top. I've only ever seen it once. Does that mean that every badger does that? Is that a standard practice for badgers? I've not a clue. All I can say is I've seen that once, but it would be wrong of me to say a 7-foot wall doesn't stop badgers, because I've seen one go over it. A 7-foot wall may well stop badgers, except that one. And that's kind of the point. Whatever you do, you will always get unlucky. There will always be the one time. So the biggest problem with predators, foxes get a very, very bad rap for being ruthless killing machines with no soul, no conscience, and just come in and decimate everything. And that's why they should be killed, because they're just unnatural and no other animal behaves in that way. Well, that's not true, actually. Foxes behave like that because we have created an unnatural environment. By keeping birds as pets in your garden, in a contained area, or as we do here, keeping large amounts of birds on a farm in a contained area, you have created an unnatural environment which that predator then comes into. It's exactly the same as you walking into an all-you-can-eat buffet and the host saying, oh, it's don't worry about paying today, it's free. Are you going to go, oh, thanks very much, and take one cucumber sandwich and then go on your meal? No, you're going to fill your plate, fill your pockets, fill your Tupperware. Of course you are. The bears in the USA, in the salmon migrations, they go to the river and they gorge. Does a bear stand there all day, every day, decimating salmon? No, it does it because at that specific point in time, that is a natural environment, but there is a phenomenon of a huge amount of prey stuck in one place. So, wolves and shepherds in other countries and in our history, wolves would decimate a flock of sheep because they're stuck in one place. It's not a natural environment. We create that unnatural environment which the predator comes into. So to say that a fox is a bloodthirsty killing machine is not true, because it would decimate wildlife if that were true. It would take out entire flocks of endangered birds, and they don't, because they can't. They do it to us because we have created that for them. When we create something, it's up to us to also control it and manage it. So to put all the blame on the predator is not strictly fair. The fox gets the baddest rap, but also things like polecats as well. You've created an unnatural feeding feast for them. So when they get in, they do take the head off of everything. So obviously it's impractical to keep 2 beds over there, 2 beds over there. So we just have to manage it the best we can, and I do cover that in the video. Sorry, this has not been the greatest video. I didn't really plan it very well, so I think there's a few shots of me filming my leg while I'm talking, because it's very difficult to do things one-handed and pointing at fences and things. But hopefully you get the gist, and it helps you in your design of pen or thinking about your own security and options that you have. So anyway, enjoy, and I welcome any comments. If people think I'm completely wrong, that's fine. We can all learn together if you've got an idea, a good idea that works. It's great. So anyway, hope you enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome to Court Farm Chickens. Today we're going to be talking about predators and the problems with them and what we can do to stop them. Okay, so obviously I'm based in England, so the biggest problem we have is foxes, by public opinion. That's not my opinion, actually. I'll go over that. But yeah, when people think of the problem with keeping birds, they straight away go to, well, what about the foxes? Other countries, you're going to have other problems. I don't know how to tackle a bear. We don't have that issue. Run away very quickly would probably be my advice on bears. But in general, in the UK, what we can have, yes, you've got foxes, you've got badgers, you've got birds of prey. None of these are actually the biggest problem. Foxes take the rap for pretty much every single chicken kill. When people come to their chicken coops and see everything dead with its head torn off, straight away, it's a fox, that's how fox do it. There's a lot of Facebook groups where someone puts a post up saying they're devastated, what's happened, and everyone says it's a fox. Generally, actually, it's not a fox. It is something like stoat. Stoats, pine martins, escaped ferrets, that kind of thing, weasels even. They cause so much damage, but you don't see them and you don't know they're there. And they have the same kill MO as a fox. They will come in and they will kill everything and they will take the heads off. And because they're not seen and they can get through a lot smaller holes, people just assume it's a fox, but it's not. Now, foxes you can protect from reasonably easy. I'm going to go over that in a minute. Things smaller like rats, pine martins, that kind of thing, they're real tricky to keep out. Trapping really is your only sort of option on them, and baiting, because they will cut holes through fences. They will find the smallest hole and squeeze through it. So, I mean, I've even seen posts where people have got like a large enclosed coop with absolutely, there's no way a fox can get in there. They open the door and everything's dead. And then they're blaming the fox and going out shooting foxes. Well, it wasn't a fox. How on earth did a fox get in there? Didn't. It will be something like this, like the ferret type of animal. So yeah, it's, how do you protect against them? It is tricky, very tricky. You put traps down and sort of trail cams, really. If you've got a problem and you'll keep losing birds and you can't work out how the fox is getting in, it's probably because it's not a fox. Put something like a trail cam down and you will be surprised at what you see. And once you know what predator you're dealing with, it's then a lot easier to work out how to get rid of it. The good thing about that type of animal, like the small ferret ones, is they're generally alone. In breeding season they'll have pups and what have you, but generally they're passing through, generally they're alone. So once you've got it, that's sort of problem solved until the next one. Badgers are a problem. Badgers are strong creatures. They will rip the doors off of chicken coops, they will rip open fences. I have seen a badger climb a vertical 7-foot wall. They're a lot more agile than people think. However, badgers aren't really a problem because they're very shy creatures. They stay away from humans as best they can, and also their eyesight is abysmal. So they go on smell and hearing. So if you've got an area where you keep chickens at night, that badger is not actually going to particularly know where the chicken is. They will smell chickens everywhere, but they won't know where to focus in on, whereas a fox does. So you'll see footprints from badgers, but generally they sort of scout the area. They can't really work out where the food is, and they leave. So they're not as big a deal. And even if they were, legally you can't touch a badger anyway. There's nothing you can do. You're not even allowed to trap the thing. So Unfortunately, if you do have a problem with badgers, you need to ring in professionals. There is nothing you can legally do yourself. You can't even trap the blooming things. So yeah, so I mean, foxes you can trap. Foxes, yeah, you can deal with in other ways, and you can remove them. But yeah, it's more likely going to be smaller animals that are attacking your birds. The birds of prey, we've had birds of prey come down. That is rare, especially in an urban area. You're not going to get a blooming eagle coming down, but out here we have had buzzard attacks. But they only take smaller birds. They take your young. They take the ducklings, the chicks, the growers. They don't take adult birds. They're not a risk to them. Things, to be honest, that are really going to cause you problems in terms of aerial attacks is crows. Crows are pretty ruthless. If they see a weak bird, an older bird, they do come down. They're not going to take these the big chicken breeds, the large, but they will take a bantam, especially if it's ill. They will come down. We've had that happen. Crows also take eggs. Nightmare. They absolutely ransack nests. So if you've got nesting ducks, crows are the bane of my life with nesting ducks. They take every egg every day, and then you have to set up scarers and blank cartridges, and it's constant. So yeah, if it's not from the air, it's on the ground. So yeah, we'll go over a few things on fencing and what you can do. Generally it will be covering foxes, because with the smaller type of animal, they are much harder, and trapping is the only way, and whatever you do, it will get through. The only way to 100% secure your birds is to build something that replicates a barn. You either keep them in a barn, or you build a structure that looks like a barn made out of mesh panels with a concrete floor. But to do that in the UK, you're going to need planning permission. And do you want this huge structure destroying your garden and not particularly looking very pretty? It's not very practical, and it's beyond most people's budget, so it's not something that most people are going to do. However, it is the only way to 100% protect your birds. So we're going to go over a few of the fencing things that I've done. At the moment we're moving sites, so this place is pretty run down at the moment because there's no point in me investing any more money here, because I need to move everything. It's the joy of farming. Fields get turned around. We've been here for 3 years. The ground is now saturated. I need to move everything, so everything's a bit lacking, shall we say, but it will all be nice and new as soon as the new ground is prepared. So we'll go over a few bits, and hopefully it's helpful in sort of your decision on what to build and where to locate and what to do. So this is your basic chicken wire fence. It's been here a while now, it's a bit overgrown in places, but this is like the exterior of one of our pens. So you've got your posts, your wire, your top wire, and then it's just stapled in all the way along. Now, a fox can jump that easily. It's only, what are we, 4 foot off the ground, but it doesn't. And the reason why it doesn't is foxes don't jump clean over things. They jump, they then land on top, and then they jump down, which is why a wall or a wooden fence doesn't work. They jump up, they scramble up, get to the top, go over the other side. When you've got a fence like this, they will stand here and look up at it, and they can't work out how to get the purchase because they can't. If they tried it, they would get over, but they don't try it because they can't figure out how they're going to do it, and therefore they don't. So how are they going to get in? They're going to go under. Now, I've seen a lot of things about how you have to dig these fences into the ground. Yeah, you can do if you enjoy back-breaking labour. I mean, we've got 20-metre square pens here with tree roots and all sorts. To dig this into the ground would be an unbelievable job. You could do it, and it would do the job, and it would work. But foxes will dig where they find a weakness. So if you've got this tight, using, where is it? This is what we use. So you make sure it's tightly secured at the top with the top wire and stapled into your posts. You then use these, and a lot of these, not one or two, a lot of these, sort of every 6 inches, and you put them in, and then you hammer them down all the way. I haven't got a hammer. All the way. That then keeps it from pulling up. The fox will try, if it can get movement in the fence like this and push up, then it will dig. As long as you keep that absolutely taut, they're going to push on it, try it. They're not going to realise if it's dug in or not dug into the ground. They haven't got that sort of level of thinking capacity. As long as it's tight, like that, it may as well be dug into the ground. They're not going to check. They don't know. They haven't. So they will look for a weak spot, and then they will dig under. So the key to keeping a fox out: do not have anything hard on the top, and do not have any weak spots or holes on the bottom where they can find that space to dig. We've been in this field for 3 years, and you can see it's just a big open field. We get foxes all the time, and we've lost birds to foxes. And we've lost birds to foxes when the birds have got out on this side of the fence because a gate has been left open, or some of the chicken breeds that can fly, or the duck breeds that can fly, think, oh no, why stay in a perfectly contained area where I'm nice and safe? Let's go on this side and get eaten. A fox has never ever got in here, never, not once. So it doesn't look like it should work, but I can just say it does. Experiences may vary. So the height of a fence is sort of irrelevant, because yeah, you have to keep it high enough to stop your birds getting out, and you have to make it so a fox can't leap over it. So if you're at least 4 foot, the fox isn't going to particularly try. You could build a 20-foot solid wall fence, the fox would just climb it. So the height isn't really on your sort of favour. You can't just, oh, that's so high now a fox can't go over it. It will. So keep the top unstable, floppy, but the bottom tight. That will confuse a fox enough that it can't get in. Now you can use all enclosed things like this. So you've got the coop on the back, and then you've got the run. It's all enclosed. This is one's got a bottom on it as well. These work, but these are small, so it's good for 1 or 2 birds. It doesn't really give them the life they want. Yeah, they are much more protected, but they're enclosed. If you replicate this and build a massive one, that's fine, that'll work, but then you're talking thousands of pounds. So cost does come into it. Now you may have seen these in the background of a lot of my videos. This is an old pen now, there's nothing in here. So this is built using Harris fencing panels. Now these fencing panels are great. The problem is foxes can climb them. As I was saying earlier, when I got these, as you can see, and this is all needs taken down, but we cable tied the chicken wire to the bottom so that you haven't got this gap underneath. Harris fencing comes with these feet to hold it in place, which is great, but they do create a massive gap underneath, so we got rid of them and just dug the feet sort of right under the ground. This one's come up, but as you can see, it's on these ones, it's sort of right in there, so nothing can get underneath. Solid top. So this is much taller than my fence. My fence is 4 foot, these are 6 foot. But because it's got a solid top, the fox climbs and gets over. And there's a reason why this pen is empty, because I learnt the hard way. So Harris fencing panels do work at keeping your birds in. They do not stop foxes. So yeah, you need, if you're using these, you need to put a top on. I learnt the hard way. I mean, they're good. You can move them around, make a large pen very quick. They're quite cheap, but yeah, no good. They're good for dividing pens in the middle. We've got a few over there where we've used to sort of divide things out and what have you. But as a perimeter fence, they don't work. Foxes just go straight over the top. Barbed wire. Barbed wire is another thing you can use. This does work. We've got this all around the chickens. We don't have it on the ducks. We do have it on the chickens. It's risky. It doesn't look nice. It's all right here. We're industrial. But do you want barbed wire in your garden? It's very dangerous for kids. If a bird does try and get out, you can get your bird sort of entangled on it, which is why we done it on this pen, but we did stop using it It's also really hard work to get up. And a fox doesn't really care what it is. It's if it can get over, it will. A fox isn't scared by barbed wire, doesn't really know what it is. So you can use it, it may do a job, but I would say it's probably more of a visual thing for humans than keeping animals out, if I'm honest. Electric fencing. These are good, these work. This is a battery powered one. A lot of the problem with electric fencing is obviously you need the power to run them, which can cause issues. But this is actually a battery powered one. It's quite good. You plug it in, well, you battery it up, attach it to a fence post. You've got an earthing spike there, and then these bits here attached to your fence, electrify your fence. They do work. They give any animal trying to get in quite a nasty shock. But we've stopped using them. These guys in here. Well, we've stopped using it because if you could plug it in, it would work. But because we haven't got any power, the batteries, you don't know when the thing's live and when it isn't. The grass touches the fence and just shorts it out. Just drains the batteries. So I was putting 4 D-size batteries in it, sort of once a week, even less, like more than that. It wasn't cost effective. But if you've got a power supply, electric fencing may be a way to go. But obviously, it's a bit dangerous for kids and like your dogs and things. But people use it for horses, but that's to keep the horses in, not to keep foxes out. Fox will sort of quickly work out how to get around the electric bit. All enclosed pens. These are good. I'm not going to promote this one too much because this is made by a company called Feel Good, and I tried to work with them to sell their products and they didn't want to, so stuff them. However, these aren't as easy to sort of, they get messy very quick because you've got birds confined in quite a small area. We also had a storm last night, as you can see. There is mud everywhere, there's rain everywhere, there's a lot of wind damage here, which is why I'm here cleaning up. And as you can see, the tarpaulin on the top is completely ripped off, and that is the problem with these. But they do keep the birds more secure. The only reason these birds are in here is because they can fly, to be honest. But everything needs a full clean after the wind and the rain last night. But yeah, I mean, it does give an extra layer of security. Of course it does. There's a roof on top. We've never had a fox get in here, but there we go. Rat. Now, we've got rats everywhere at the moment because we've had so much rain. All their nests are flooded. And things with rats is you think you're on top of them. Look at him. And you're just not. But rats is another subject that I will get on. I will cover it in a minute, about the different types of predators, but how to handle rats is a different subject because it's quite an emotive topic. People get a bit upset about the reality of rats, so that'll be a different video. The other predator in the UK that does actually cause a problem, which most people would never ever guess and don't believe me when I tell them. I do have video evidence of it though, which obviously I'm never going to share on here because it's very distressing. Hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are absolutely ruthless. Everyone loves hedgehogs. As a country, we think they're great. They are unreal. If a hedgehog gets into your pen, they will take every baby bird. They will sit and eat them in front of the others. They are brutal. And there is nothing a bird can do to defend against the hedgehog because of the spikes. It can't peck it. If it goes to peck, it gets its own eyes jabbed out. So hedgehogs will decimate a nest of ducklings, a nest of chicks. They will take an ill bird. If a bird is struggling a little bit, have a bit of like respiratory problem or something, the hedgehog will just take it at night. If the bird doesn't go to bed, it will take it. We had a turkey die, and I wasn't given the chance to work out what happened to that turkey. I don't know if another predator took it, because by the time I found it, there was 6 hedgehogs tearing the carcass apart, which is the video I have. It's awful. Yeah, and they fight for their food as well. They do not go. So hedgehogs are actually a real problem, and something you need to protect against as well. They're fatter than a rat, they're slower than a rat, and they can't get in as easy as a rat, but they will use the same methods as tunneling and sort of pulling fences away, that kind of thing. But yeah, hedgehogs. These are your basic live traps. We've got two here. That's the largest one you can get. Then we've got a medium size, and you can get smaller ones as well. The smaller ones are purely for rats. We do have those, but they're in place at another part nearer the house at the moment. So the way these work, that one is actually upside down. The way these work is you set them, you pull the, where are we? Do this one-handed. So this is your door, your entrance. You set that, so that is held up. There's a wire there that you just sort of put in place on a hook. Excuse me that you can't see, but I can't do this one-handed. Okay, so there's a hook there that holds this door up in place, and a wire that goes down to this foot plate. You then put your bait behind it. The animal comes walking in like that, steps on the foot plate, door closes behind it. It's now trapped in there. Next day you can come along, pick it up, and do with as you will. These we got this sort of size because we had a problem with polecats, ferrets, that type of animal, pine martins. It was polecats in the end, as we discovered, because these did work for the polecats. The problem with a trap this size is every single morning when you come to check it, there will be a hedgehog asleep in there, snoring away. Hedgehogs are the bane of my life. So yeah, these do trap your polecats and that kind of thing, but it will be constantly full of hedgehogs, so you'll need that to deal with. These bigger ones, they work exactly the same. This one, as well as just the door, you've got this pole that comes down, so that goes up, door comes up. You can then sort of adjust how sensitive it is, put it on there, so then it's open like that. You can hide it a bit better, obviously. You can just leave it in the open. Generally, if you've got a hole in your fence, you would put this against the hole and this on the outside, so the fox that's already come knows where that hole is, so then it just goes in. On this hook here, you attach large bait. So on these small ones, you put something on, like peanut butter or something in there. On these large ones, I mean, you would put literally like a whole chicken from the supermarket on that chicken drumstick or something. When the fox comes in, it will pull on the bait that's on this. So I'm trying to film this so you can see everything. So it will pull that, which then releases that door. This bar comes down and the fox now can't get out. You can then come and deal with the fox yourself, or call someone in like the Fox Project to remove it. This is a humane fox trap. That is what it is called. It's what it is advertised at. It is humane. The fox is not injured. It's not hurt. It's not dead. You can go and release it on its merry way. The problem is these holes are too big. Now, I think they're this size so that it just blends in with fencing and isn't clearly a trap. That's my thinking of why they've done it like this. But the issue is, the fox, its snout is thin. It's not like a dog where it's thin. So it can hold on to that and it can bite that. And when it's panicking, that is exactly what it will do. It will bite everything it can to try and get itself out. Now, a fox has a very strong bite force. It can clamp down hard on something. However, its lower jaw is very thin and weak. So a fox that is really panicking, especially when you've come now, so at night it'll probably be all right, but as soon as you get here, all it wants to do is get away, and it will start biting and thrashing and trying to open that trap to get away from you. At that point, it can snap its lower jaw itself, it will bite so hard that its bottom jaw snaps off, which is horrific and not something you want in your memory, I can assure you. Especially if you like foxes and were doing your best to help that fox and just remove it somewhere safe, you have now killed it. Because unless a vet can get in and mend its jaw, I don't really know if vets deal with foxes, they are classed as vermin. But either way, that fox now can't eat or drink, so you've killed it in an awful way. It would have been better to shoot it. So yes, that's a humane trap. Yes, it's a good option. But if you're unsure and you do have a fox in your trap, I would suggest it is best not to approach. I would call a fox project and say, I've got the fox in the trap, because they will know how to deal with it to stop it doing that. They will get in there with a blanket and quickly cover it up so that that doesn't happen. So yeah, if you like foxes and want to use one of these to help it and move it, be aware of the fox is its own worst enemy when it's in that trap. So yeah, this video has been a bit glum, really, a bit meek, but it's the harsh reality of bird keeping. Now, thankfully, most people will not have any of these problems, and the reason you won't have these problems is because you've got 3, 4, 6 chickens in your garden or a couple of ducks on your pond. The fewer animals you have, the less problems you have. We have huge problems with all of these predators because of just how many birds we have here. At the moment, as I said earlier, we're moving the pen, so we've cut right down, but we can have up to 400 birds here at sometimes. That amount of birds, that amount of noise, smells, attracts a huge amount of predation. So that's why we have issues. When you've got a couple of birds in your garden, you're going to get hit by a fox because you got unlucky and it was passing through. Generally, people say, oh, once a fox knows, it will come back. They don't really. If you've got a den nearby, then yeah, sure. Especially if you've got a vixen feeding its pups, cubs, whatever you call them, then yeah, then you'll have a problem with repeat attacks. But generally, you get unlucky. You have a fox that's just, well, a fox's territory can be up like 20 miles. So yeah, it might come back, but it might not come back for months and months, by which point it's probably been hit by a car anyway. So generally, this isn't going to be a constant battle. You're not going to have to sit on the porch with a rocking chair and a shotgun constantly defending your birds, and if you take that sort of stance, then you're not going to enjoy having the birds. So because we're in the country as well, we have more problems with things like polecats. In urban areas, you don't really hear of that happening. You certainly don't really hear of the sort of birds of prey. One thing on bird I did forget to mention, because we don't have them here, being in the country, but if you're in a proper built up area, especially down by the coast, seagulls will take birds, and they're protected. You can't do anything against them either. So be aware, especially if you've got bantam breeds, smaller breeds, fancy breeds, or you're breeding, seagulls will take your smaller birds. I've seen a seagull attack and kill and fly off with a blackbird once. I was sat in traffic. That was bizarre. Didn't think they would do it. And there we are. They can, and they do. So, yeah, enjoy your birds. Put a bit of thought into it, but don't get consumed with it, because it doesn't really matter how much you do. There will always be some time where something happens, unforeseen. Everyone locks their chickens away at night, except that one time where they were out and didn't get back in time, and that's when the fox came. That's absolute classic. Happens all the time. All the time I get phone calls like that this has happened. It's life, and it sucks. But all you can do is your best, and your best will generally be good enough to keep your birds safe. But you've got to think of the quality of life of the bird as well. They're not like rabbits, guinea pigs, where you can leave them in a hutch. Now that's a different story, because I don't think you should. But rabbits, guinea pigs are left in hutches, and they're generally safe. You can't leave a bird in a coop all day. This message goes to you, DEFRA, with your lockdowns. You cannot leave a bird in a coop all day. It will become depressed. It will start pulling feathers. They will start attacking each other. They will start killing each other through boredom and stress. So you have to allow the birds the freedom, and with that freedom does come the risk of predation. And chickens and things don't help themselves either. If you can, as safe as you make your chicken, they will find the unsafest place to sit. That's the joy of them. So yeah, I know it's not been a particularly happy video, but hopefully it has been a little bit helpful. Some people that worry about these things. Generally, it's not going to be a problem for you. Just be aware, and just keep on top of things like holes in your fences. Don't think, oh, there's an hole there, I'll leave that for a few weeks, because the worst will happen. Always keep on top of it. Right. Hope it's been helpful, and we've been Court Farm Chickens. I'll see you on the next one.